Vivek, so let's start our interaction, and let me first thank you because you have voluntarily accepted to go for this interaction to share your share your academic experience with all of us. And I'm very sure your journey is going to help many of the students who aspire to have the similar kind of career. So thanks a lot for your time, Vivek, today.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Okay. So Vivek, before I start interacting with you and I have certain queries, I will be asking you question on behalf of my students. So I want you to give us very brief introduction of yours, covering from where you are, when did you graduate, from where you graduated, which branch, then where are you presently, and what are you going to do in future. So that brief introduction.
Yeah. So I'm Vivek, and I am from Dausa, Rajasthan, which is a city near Jaipur. So I did my schooling from Dausa, and I then went to Jaipur to prepare for my IIT JEE exam, and then I got into BITS Pilani Hyderabad campus. I did my mechanical engineering there from 2015 to 2019, and then I wrote GATE and got into ISC. So I'm currently a MTech student at ISC and will be graduating within a few months. So I did my MTech from 2019 to 2021, and simultaneously I also applied for PhD and will be going for my PhD at the University of Pennsylvania, USA, after like in August this year.
Okay, great. So BITS Hyderabad, and then I see Bangalore, and now Pennsylvania University you are going. So you are going up, Vivek. That is good. Your career graph is going up. Okay, Vivek, I have very straight questions to ask you. मेरा पहला क्वेश्चन है कि you graduated from BITS, and that is a reputed college in India, and I'm very sure because it was Hyderabad campus, and I know in mechanical engineering graduation you get good opportunities, good jobs. Why you thought of MTech at the first place? Why not job? Why MTech?
Yeah, that's a very important question, and it was not easy for me, first of all. So it was a whole lot of process, a lot of learning for me, like how to choose a job which will be a which will result in job satisfaction, and also which will be optimum for myself. So I started researching about what kind of job profile I like from my second year itself. So like I remember that I was always concerned in my bachelor's, like what will be the perfect job profile for me, or what profile will align with my interests and my type of personality. So those questions, I guess, were important to ask, and I started early. So the process, how I went through it, is uh,
Yes, Vivek, go ahead.
So I interacted with seniors wherever I thought. So they basically, for a mechanical engineer in India, there are three options. Like, first of all, you can go into a core job, or you can go into an IT job, leave your mechanical branch aside and start coding, or you can pursue higher education. So for all of these options, I started talking with people who are already there. So I interacted with my seniors who are pursuing core jobs. I also interacted with someone who started coding and then got a good CS placement from my mechanical branch. And then, and also I researched for people who are pursuing their PhDs abroad or were doing their MS. So after interacting with many of them, yeah, I remember that I will randomly message a senior that please tell me how are you enjoying or not, what are the pros and cons of your jobs. So doing all that for a year or 1.5 year, like until I came to my fourth year, I did all that process of researching a good job profile which will align with my interest. And then I came to know that there are certain pros and cons, let's say with a core job and also with an IT job. Like in a core job, your initial start won't be that good, and also it depends a lot on the company which you are going into. And also there's a slight problem of R&D in our country. And shifting to IT was not a good option in my opinion, as I came to know about after interacting with a lot of seniors. And so the last option for research was like, I was not very sure that I'll be able to do research or I'll make a long-term career in research. So that's why I applied for a research internship at IISc in my final year, because I wanted to get a taste of research. So I guess then my experience at IISc helped me a lot to lock the option of pursuing research.
Okay, so maybe you interacted with many of your seniors, those who are doing job in core domain, those who are in IT sector, and maybe those who were pursuing their doctorate or something abroad, and you find
Yeah.
people doing doctorate more satisfying people, more satisfactory people,
Yeah.
full of satisfaction.
Like, yeah, no, I won't say like the people who are in core or IT
They
weren't
were not
satisfied,
satisfied.
but aligning to my type of personality and my type of interest. So I guess
Mhm.
that was a good.
Okay, okay. Now, Vivek, I come to next part. To summarize, the first question was like, obviously, it is temperament and it is your own choice that matters. And there are a couple of options: either do job in core, or go for IT or non-core jobs, or go for higher education, get specialized, and explore more options. And that is what you chose. Okay, that is acceptable. Now we come to second part is since you are doing your masters from IISc Bangalore, I'm very sure your gate will be very good. You must be having very good gate score. With that gate score you may be getting many opportunities in IITs also, like IIT Bombay, Delhi, Madras, Chennai and all. So there is a misconception among students ke IISc Bangalore ke andar there is a lot of ragadai, there's a lot of harsh curriculum is there, एंड प्लेसमेंट के ऊपर फोकस नहीं है आईआईसी का, बिकॉज बीटेक वाला बच्चा होता नहीं है वहां पे, और प्लेसमेंट के लिए वो उतना फोकस नहीं करते, दो यू आर द बेस्ट एंड प्लेसमेंट को ट्रबल नहीं है. वेन एवर आई इंटरेक्ट विद द स्टूडेंट्स ऑफ आईआईसी दे से सर हाँ फोकस नहीं है प्लेसमेंट पे, प्लेसमेंट हो जाता है. सो माय क्वेश्चन टू यू विवेक इज वेरी स्ट्रेट. जो स्टूडेंट ये पूछता है कि सर मैं आईआईटी बॉम्बे ले लूं क्योंकि वहां तो प्लेसमेंट पे फोकस है और आईआईसी में तो मेहनत बहुत करनी पड़ेगी, और बोलते हैं वो तो रिसर्च प्रोग्राम है, वहीं उसी बच्चे को जाना चाहिए जो पीएचडी के लिए इंटरेस्टेड है. एंड आईआईटी बॉम्बे में मेरे को तो प्लेसमेंट लेनी है बिकॉज मेजोरिटी स्टूडेंट्स वांट प्लेसमेंट, तो दे से कि आईआईटी चले जाते हैं, आईआईसी क्यों जाएंगे. व्हाट इज योर आंसर टू दिस क्वेश्चन?
Yeah, so I guess there can't be a straightforward answer. So there's a gray area also. So it depends that what's your. So first of all, if you are confused about whether research is for you or not, I guess ISC is a good place to be, because placement wise, let's say they don't have a proper system for getting you placed, but anyway you will get placed somehow. Like there will be a lot of companies who have collaborated with faculties, so with their reference you can go about getting a placement. Few of my friends got placement by that way. Yeah, it's true that getting a placement in ISC, it's not very easy, because there is not a placement cell, dedicated placement cell whose job is to get you placed. And so in IITs it becomes easier because there is a whole dedicated system for that, so you get a lot of help from them. But at the same time, I guess the point of harsh curriculum in a way is good for Indian students, because that harsh curriculum will make you a good student and will increase your knowledge a lot. And if you get through that harsh curriculum, I guess you can easily crack a off-campus interview and get into job. But at the same time, the benefits you are getting are more, because you will get to experience one of the very best labs in India, and you will get to know how research is done.
Just true. Acha Vivek, let me ask you a question. Wait. Okay, Vivek, let me ask you a question. Like, if I say that students also believe that the majority of the students from ISC, they plan for further education like PhD or something later on from abroad or something. Can you give me some idea, like in your batch, how many students were there in masters and how many are planning to go for PhD? Some kind of statistics.
Yeah, so in my batch there were about 14, 15 people. And so yeah, it's true that very few number of people will apply for PhD simultaneously with their MTech. So I guess four of us from our batch applied for PhDs, and all of them got. So yeah, so getting a PhD from IISc background is not that difficult, because the kind of recommendation letters you will be getting from the faculties of
Professors must be
IISc.
very, very helpful in that particular domain, right?
Yeah, and professors are very helpful if you are applying for a research program, because they want people to pursue a PhD degree, and that's why they write a very good recommendation letters, and no one has a problem of getting a PhD abroad. But most of my friends, so they plan to apply for PhD after pursuing a job, because they want to get like
Experience or
make their
something.
decision after
Mm.
getting into job. And
Mm.
yeah, but according to statistics, what I have seen in my seniors also, many of them, I guess almost 70-80% of them ends up doing a PhD. It's just a matter of time, maybe after a
जॉब में जाने के
year
बाद
or
लगता है कि कुछ नहीं है जॉब के अंदर, लेट्स गो फॉर पीएचडी, राइट वे, समथिंग लाइक दैट.
yeah, that's pretty accurate.
अच्छा विवेक, एक और क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा हूँ आपसे. आप तो मैकेनिकल के हो, यू आर इन द मेन कोर ब्रांच ऑफ योर ग्रेजुएशन. नो, let me ask you a question. The student who is from mechanical or civil or electrical and getting into interdisciplinary course, which are very good courses, like I name a few. Let's say oceaneering, let's say energy science, let's say nanoscience, let's say artificial intelligence. तो ऐसे जो interdisciplinary departments हैं, can a student enjoy the same research career as you are enjoying if he joins interdisciplinary department? And why I'm asking that reason is, as of now admission season is going on, right? Students have options. So they have option now. Let's say a student is having option for computational and data science, IISc Bangalore, which in my opinion is very fundu department. And if he does his masters from there, not only he can get very good jobs, he can get opportunities for higher education abroad also. So can a student who gets admission into interdisciplinary department, computational data science, so everybody thinks it is very good, but I'm talking about even departments like, let's say, earth science, oceaneering, climate science, sustainable energy kind of things. So can he also enjoy the same research career abroad? मतलब उसको भी फंडू PhD में scholarship के साथ मिल सकता है क्या, विवेक?
So that's a very good question, and also a very fundamental one, because everyone cannot get into a core discipline with their kids for, and it's also very confusing because people don't know what are the opportunities after these interdisciplinary branch. But the good thing is that getting into an interdisciplinary branch will fetch you even better options for research abroad, because research abroad is purely interdisciplinary. So even though I am going into a mechanical engineering department of University of Pennsylvania, still I'll be working with people from different backgrounds. There are people from material science, from biological sciences in my lab. So they want people who are from interdisciplinary backgrounds. So if you plan well and pursue a degree from interdisciplinary branch, it will be even better, and you will get an edge over people who are doing a purely core work and doesn't involve a lot of disciplines. So it's a good option to pursue an interdisciplinary branch. It's just a matter of personal priorities, that what you want to do. Because after an interdisciplinary degree, I guess getting a job might be a little difficult in India, but research options will increase.
So can we say that if a student is getting, let's say, masters in biotechnology or biomedical or nanoscience in IISc Bangalore, then he can think of planning his career in the direction of pursuing higher education abroad, getting very good universities in foreign universities, very good foreign university, doing doctorate from there, and leading a very good research career, because research abroad is highly interdisciplinary, and that is a very good career for him. Can we say that?
Yeah, for sure we can say that, because I'm not saying just as a opinion, but I have seen people like one of my friend who will be going to University of California, Los Angeles. He is from Sense, though he was a project assistant there. He didn't even do his MTech. He was getting even better offers than people who were just doing their masters in mechanical engineering. That's because the departments abroad are hugely interdisciplinary. And I would
Yeah, Vivek, there was some disruption. So you were talking about your friend. Can you tell me what department you were talking about? Which department is he?
Yeah. So he applied for a project assistantship in nanoscience department at IIC, which is called
Okay.
Sense.
Okay.
So I could see that he was getting a lot more offers
Okay.
because he had a freedom to apply to different kind of departments. Let's say
Okay.
he could apply to electrical engineering, also mechanic. Though his bachelor's was from mechanical, but
Okay.
because he pursued some project which was interdisciplinary, he had an option to apply a lot of departments abroad, because
Okay.
abroad they accept people who are from interdisciplinary branch, and they even encourage to people
Mhm.
who are from
From
interdisciplinary.
interdisciplinary, because the research, truly speaking, research is
Yes,
interdisciplinary domain only.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, Vivek, now I come to third part of our interaction, and that is related to your now going abroad for PhD. Now, Vivek, पहला क्वेश्चन तो मैं ये पूछूंगा that many students से सर बीटेक कर लिया, एमटेक कर लिया, अब तो शादी की एज हो गई, मैरिज वी शुड डू, अभी भी पढ़ते रहोगे, पीएचडी में 3 साल 5 साल पता नहीं कितना साल और लगेगा. So how do you answer this question and how to handle this pressure?
That sounds very familiar because yeah, a lot of my friends and even I used to ponder on these points, because these are important questions, and also pursuing a PhD is like a long-term goal. So it becomes difficult to answer these questions. But at the same time, let's say even if you are doing a job, so yeah, first of all, let me make clear that financially doing a PhD abroad is very fulfilling, because not only you will be covered for your fees and all, you will be getting a good amount of stipend, which is much more than any core job in India.
Yes.
And also if even like the questions of marrying and how long we will be studying, so it's just like in your, I guess in your 20s, you can dedicate, you can invest that amount to your studies, because it will give you fruitful results in the long term. And uh, and it's not, you should not think as it as a 5-year program or a 4-year program. You should rather think it as an investment,
Yes.
because even if you are doing a job, you anyway you are working hard. It's not that you will be sitting and you will be getting money. So yeah,
Okay.
anyway you have
So
to work hard, so you
yeah,
can instead
and you
work
know,
for your.
yeah, and you know what I believe is, Vivek, I believe that PhD in foreign countries, as you said, financially तो fulfilling है ही, और अगर फाइनेंशियली फुलफिलिंग है तो हार्डली देयर इज एनी डिफरेंस इन जॉब एंड पीएचडी, नंबर वन. नंबर टू, कई जगह पे यूरोप में तो पीएचडी को वो एडवर्टाइज ही एज अ जॉब करते हैं, कि उसको
Yeah.
जॉब की तरह से एडवर्टाइज करते हैं. इट इज नॉट अ हायर एजुकेशन कोर्स, इट इज अ जॉब ओनली. So that means if you are getting good stipend, which is more than what salary you will get in India, in Indian rupees, so then what is the trouble? So very
Yeah.
truly you said that is what the expected answer was, and that is my perception also the same. So nothing to worry on that front. And now I'm coming to next part, Vivek, which is very very important from students' perspective, and that is कितना खर्चा आया, जेब में कितना पैसा चाहिए अगर मेरे को पीएचडी के लिए जाना, बिकॉज एमटेक कर रहा हूं तो स्कॉलरशिप इंडिया में है 12,500, राइट. नाउ लेट्स प्लान इट दिस वे, आई एम डूइंग माय एमटेक एंड 2 साल मेरे को एमटेक करनी है, अब मेरे को पीएचडी के लिए भी प्लान करना है, मेरे को घर से पैसा नहीं लेना. तो विवेक ये बताओ कि कितना खर्चा आया आपका टोटल जीआरई लिखने में. यू मस्ट हैव रिटन जीआरई, टोएफल एंड एवरी यूनिवर्सिटी, यू मस्ट हैव अप्लाइड इन कपल ऑफ यूनिवर्सिटीज. तो मेरे को पूरा एग्जैक्टली बताओ कि कितना पैसा खर्चा आया आपका और आगे कितना आएगा और स्कॉलरशिप कितना मिला आपको, सो दैट आई कैन टेल अ स्टूडेंट वेरी क्लियरली थ्रू यू, स्टूडेंट्स मस्ट बी लिसनिंग, कि मेरे पास इतना पैसा चाहिए 2 साल के बाद जब मैं पीएचडी के लिए अप्लाई करूं.
So yeah, so I'll try to be very precise and detailed in this thing, because yeah, it's a doubt of a lot of people. Even it was for mine कि या मैं भी सोचता था कि कितना खर्चा आएगा,
खर्चा आ जाएगा.
घर से तो बिल्कुल पैसा नहीं लेना है ना.
हम्म.
But the good thing is you don't have to take money from home if you are applying for PhD, because if you are doing masters from India, you will get a decent stipend of 12,400, which is the current MHRD stipend.
Scholarship.
Yeah, scholarship. So and the fees is quite less. For IIC it was very less. Overall you can easily save around 7 to 8,000 per month.
Okay.
So that's your saving in MTech stipend. And now coming to the expense part of it. So the major expenses for you will be the GRE, writing TOEFL, and the application fees of different universities. So how the PhD application process works is, First, you will give your GRE and TOEFL. So those will be your scores which you have to put in your applications, and there will be a minimum level above which you should have scored if you want to get shortlisted in that particular universities. So GRE will be around, like in Indian rupees, it will be around 14 to 15,000. And similarly, TOEFL will also be of similar rates. Let's say everything will get GRE and TOEFL, both of them gets done in 30,000.
Right.
So that's your
Okay, Vivek, you were telling about 30,000 GRE plus TOEFL. After that.
yeah. Yeah. So after that, the major expense will go into your applications. So each university will charge its separate application fees. So sometimes it can be $60 or $90. So which translates to around 6 to 8,000 per university. So for me, let's say I applied to 4 universities, and that also rounded. Let we can. So what happens is, for PhD, you also have to contact your faculties, and sometimes they will give you vouchers which will refund your application fees, or you won't be charged an application fees. But let's say even if you are charged and the maximum of 8,000, it will go around another 30 to 35,000 for your application fees. So till now we are sitting on an expense of 70 to 75,000.
Okay.
Now now what happens is, so now the next set of expense comes when you get accepted. So if you get accepted, then there will be service fees of 23,000 and visa fees of 14,000. But everything of that sort can be done in around 1 lakh. So, and yeah, and if you get accepted, and most of the programs in US are funded, fully funded. So let me come to the funding part of this PhD now. So to sum up the funding, in US, almost every university give funds to their doctoral students, and the amount you are getting is also heavily dependent on the university, like how good it is. Like very lower ranked universities don't give that good a stipend, but most of the universities you will be getting into will be decent, because if you are having a bachelor's from a good institute in India, so they will give you, like, your tuition fees will be zero, like they will include that in your scholarship, and they will give you a monthly stipend. So for me it is $36,000 for a year, which comes to around $3,000 per month. And
$3,000 per
if we
month is the
convert to,
scholarship you are getting.
yeah, in terms of monthly stipend, and
That is really very good, right, Vivek?
yeah. So it also depends on the place. So I'm going to Philadelphia, which is like 1.5 hours from New York. So it's a big city, and the expenses will be uh, of similar level. Like my house rent will be more than someone who is going to a university, let's say Purdue University. So those people will get 2,200 to 2,500 as a stipend. But again, it will be same. The savings will be same, because the rents at Purdue will be lesser than the rents at Philadelphia, where I'm going. But I guess overall you can easily save $1,000 to $1,500 per month. Yeah. After talking to a lot of seniors and my friends who are in US, so they say that they are easily able to save around 1 lakh 20,000 plus or 20,000 minus in Indian rupees.
So while doing PhD, you are saving
So
that.
that's
much, right?
the funding part. Now, if we are going, yeah, saving that much, and your health insurance and your tuition fees is all covered in a scholarship. So to put a figure on it, so they give for me a scholarship is around $64,000, out of which 36,000 will be as a monthly stipend, and others will go into fees and my insurance plan and all, which they will be giving.
Okay, great. Okay, Vivek, now we come to timings. How much time will it take for you to complete your PhD, and what career after that?
Yeah, so that's a very subjective question, and that how much time will it take to complete the PhD? Because it depends on a lot of factors, like the country you are pursuing your PhD in. Most of the European countries give out PhDs in 3 years. They have a fixed duration. As you rightly said, that some of the European countries advertise it as a job. So they have a, fixed amount of money for you, and you have to complete whatever you can in those 3 years, and they will graduate you even if you have not done enough research work, or even if you have. So it doesn't matter. It has a fixed tenure of 3 years. But in United States, it's not like that. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. Please proceed.
Yeah. So in United States, even in India, so it's not a fixed duration. It depends. You have to produce substantial amount of research work to graduate. But typically saying, every lab has a average amount of years where when people graduate. So for my lab, it's around 4 to 5 years. And yeah, and also I would like to add one more point, that the visa or the scholarship you will be getting will be for full duration. Yeah, but usually people don't exceed 5 to 6 years in US, according to my knowledge.
And Vivek, after PhD, normally you will get good career, good jobs and something. Okay, Vivek, my question was, after PhD, normally you get good jobs and career after that?
Yeah, so again, it's a subjective question, because it depends on what type of field you have been. So let's say if you are into a let's say computational data science PhD, then you will get a lot of job opportunities also. And it also depends if you want a job coming back to India or in US. But if you talk about getting a job in US, it's quite easy, whatever discipline you are in, because they highly prefer students with PhDs. And your visa category also changes to E1 category, which is different from someone who is applying a job without having a PhD. So all those things give you an edge over people who have not done a PhD. And so getting a job is not a difficult thing in US. But if you want to come back to India, it's difficult in terms of getting a job in industry, because R&D is not that good still in our country. This situation may change in future, but for now, a good option for PhDs coming back to India is academia.
Okay, great. So Vivek, now let me ask you this particular question. Like you have told me, if I rephrase in your terms, like if some student is having 1 lakh to 1.5 lakh, he can think of going for PhD, and once he gets scholarship there, he can save even up to 1 lakh rupee per month in Indian, which obviously very less jobs offer you. I'm talking about saving here. I'm not talking about the earning. I'm talking about saving in this particular case. So that students can do it. Now, my last question related to our interaction is your research area. Just before interaction, you told me that you are working in some biomedical domain. So what is your research area? In which domain, Vivek, you are going forward?
Yeah, so my master's domain was biomechanics. So I'm continuing that field, and I'll be pursuing my PhD in theoretical mechanobiology, to be precise, where I'll be working on modeling the mechanics behind the cell migrations, and how the cells transmit forces among each other, and those kinds of models I'll be working on. And yeah, so it's basically we want to model the things which we see in experiments, because there is an overlapping mechanics behind each and everything which our body does or cell does. So those kinds of models we develop, so that they can mimic the experiments which we see. Yeah.
Okay, great. So Vivek, now that brings us to the end of our interaction, and I don't want to stretch it further, but I have a couple of requests to make. When I upload your video on YouTube, students must be having some queries. I'll share the link with you. You just answer whenever you get time, so that their questions are answered. That is first request. And second is, once you join your PhD course there, I'll again interact with you. You spare some time, so that you can tell the ground realities, the kind of research work going on in those labs, what lab work you are doing, and how it is different from what you have done in India, and what are the various research areas which students can think of pursuing their career in future. Right?
Sure.
And thanks a lot once again for giving your time to me today.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity.